Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today we will present on the impact of COVID-19 towards economy. So my name is Maisara Mazlan and my teammate is Leni Fauzia. So COVID-19 is referred to the silent economic killer in Italy. So Italy is one of the country that affected the most with coronavirus, where it's already achieved 2.4 million cases. Italy also ranking as the top two most affected country in the world. First case recorded was on January 2020 when two COVID-19 positive cases were reported in Chinese tourists. So we can see the graph. The graph show a rapid increase in the cases from 15 February 2020 until 2nd January 2021. It doesn't show any sign to decline. Next, furthermore, Italy is not only recorded high cases but also high number of death, which is more than 9 times cases in 10 days and thousands cases within weeks. Italy claims that the major cases coming from air travel with China for tourism purpose. Okay, so due to the high cases, the country start to do a partial lockdown in 8 March 2020 and a full lockdown on March 2020. They also apply the social distancing rules. Okay. Next is the imposition of lockdown surely will give impact to the Italy's economy, especially in the performance of GDP, inflation, employment level, balance of payment, currency exchange rate, as well as public debt. Okay, in terms of economic growth, the GDP experienced a decline in their performance as projected by the researcher, where the country's GDP will fall by 8% in the first half of the year 2020 due to COVID-19. As we can see the graph, it started to decline from the year 2019, and for the next graph, it shows the drop in 2020, where the drop is around 9.3 till 9.9%. Okay, for the second indicator, which refer to the decline in employment rate, where it is heavily declined, which is around negative 2.2% on April 2020 and negative 2.6% on May 2020. So in May, employment for starting group dropped by 19%, which compared to the May last year. So basically, Italy was hardest hit by the pandemic as the country is not fully recovered from the 2009 2008 2009 crisis, and they likely to suffer the worst employment implication of the confinement due to their specialization in sector which are more likely to be forcefully closed. Okay, for the next indicator, it's referred to the lower demand. Lower demand in respect to the supply of goods and services, which result in a fall in inflation, where it is expected to fall slightly to zero this year. So we can see from the graph, it is clearly shown that the inflation is actually declining, and it is expected to decline more on 2020. It can reach below negative 0.1%. However, in 2021, it is expected to increase back with the action taken by the government and central bank. Okay, next we see the policy implication in order to alleviate the inflation rate. Okay, so when we're focusing on the graph, in order to alleviate the inflation and economic growth, we use ISPCMR as a model. So basically, the problem in Italy during the COVID-19 is due to lower inflation and lower demand. So during period zero, which expected to be at early 2019, before COVID-19 occur, where the interest rate is at point A, which is point A refer to the bliss point, but when the COVID-19 happened, the demand become lower, and this shift IS curve from IS0 to IS1, where it transfer to the point B. So low output and inflation will lead to the deflation to occur. So at this point, central bank will play its roles and forecast the PC, which is at point C. In order to minimize their loss. So central bank expect that the demand shock will be permanent. So the IS will stay at year 2020. So in the period one, expected to be around end of year 2019 and early 2020. So at this point, interest rate not at the best level, and this will cause the inflation to fall further. So again, CB, which is central bank, will forecast the PC from the PC1 to PC2. So the optimal point now is at point D. And during the period 2, early year 2020, when the cases worsen, at this point, economy moved to point D, where the demand fall, the output fall, and as well as the inflation also fall. So in year 2020, deflation trap occur, and conventional monetary policy seems to be powerless at this rate. So the next slide is refer to the policy implication that government impose when they experience the deflation trap. Okay, so policy recommendation is we want the government to impose the expansionary fiscal policy, which what can be done. For example, the expansionary fiscal policy can be imposed. For example, like lowering the tax and increase the government spending, which will increase the aggregate demand of the citizen and it will boost the economy. So the purpose is to increase the autonomous consumption. And second one is the central bank can help to create a positive inflation expectation and investment, which is if inflation expectation are less negative, which is inflation will increase, and then minimum interest rate is lower and PC curve will shift up. Now the conventional monetary policy will work to bring the economy back to the equilibrium. So the IS curve will shift rightward to the point G and achieve the desired point, which is at point C prime, by setting interest rate at R1. So that's all from me, and the next slide will be presented by Cik Lenny.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. I'm Leni and I will start with this part. The policy implication to increase employment. The economy situation started at point A when government increased unemployment benefit to those who are unemployed. WS curve will shift upwards. This will result in unemployment rate increasing. This is because those unemployed still can survive with basic needs as they receive benefit from government. In order to decrease the unemployment rate, government should reduce unemployment benefit. We are now referring to the second graph. When the unemployment benefit is lesser, WS curve will shift downward, resulting reduction in unemployment as they need to find job in order to survive. But even the government reducing the benefit to those who are unemployed, the government still have to implement new alternative in order to help those who are affected and losing their job during COVID-19. For example, scheme to those insurance scheme for those who are affected. Next slide, I will proceed with import-export balance of payment. As we can see at the graph, the import-export balance of payment trend is fluctuate from January 2019 until December 2020. The highest amount balance of payment is on July 2020 and the lowest is on April 2020. Italy has been an international debtor in most years during the past decade. Following the financial crisis previously, Italy, like the other peripheral countries, experienced a sudden stop in private capital inflows as the level of government debt became unsustainable. Since Italy is part of the Eurozone, it cannot rebalance its current account by adjusting the exchange rate. As a result, the country entered a system of adjustment in order to replace the private capital flows with public capital flows and allow the troubled country to run current account deficits and avoid balance of payment crisis. This gave Italy the opportunity to gradually adjust its current account balance. Next is exchange rate devaluation. As we can see, before the pandemic COVID-19 occurred, the exchange rate is increasing. Even there is slightly fall in June 2019, the rate steadily increased back, then drastically decreased due to COVID-19 pandemic. When the historical collapse in the midst of strict lockdown, available indicators point to a robust rebound in activity in order to adjust back the exchange rate due to the pandemic. Here, I can explain the exchange rate policy that I will explain on the last slide. I will proceed with public debt that is increasing, as we can see in the graph. Um, Government debt in Italy is increasing, and the highest debt is in September 2020, and the lowest is during early 2019. Government debt keep on increase as the government try to overcome the economic issue due to COVID-19 pandemic. In the Italy news report in October 2020, Italy's debt will grow by 20 billion euros to finance COVID-8. Italy government will seek parliamentary approval for 20 billion euros or 24 billion of extra deficit of extra deficit. A cabinet meeting will sign off on the request. The people said asking not to be named discussed the plan that they will enable the virus better to further expand in public debt as soon as previous year. This is why the debt kept on increasing in 2020 because the government tried to find solution to help their citizens. And the last slide is exchange rate policy, which is increase the interest rate. Previously, during the past decade, the bank in Italy conduct foreign exchange operations in order to keep its foreign currency reserves under control. Besides that, they will also buy or sell foreign currency with market counterparties in order to balance inflows and outflows of foreign currency without changing the composition of foreign currency. Government of Italy used these two methods previously in order to prevent the exchange rate undergoes big fluctuation. These two methods were used by the uh, by Italy's government in order to prevent big fluctuation on the interest rate. And my suggestion during this COVID-19 crisis, maybe the Italy government, uh, in order for them to ensure the exchange rate is in good condition, is by increasing interest rate. Exchange rate and interest rates are all interconnected. An increase in interest rate causes a country's currency to appreciate as lenders are provided with higher rates and thereby attracting more foreign capital. This can cause a rise in the value of a currency and as well as the exchange rate. Cutting interest rates, on the other hand, can lead to depreciation of the currency. So by increasing the interest rate, the exchange rate of a country could be safe. That's all from me. Thank you.